Hello everyone, my name is Sophie Gantier and I'm part of the ISW, so International Secretariat for Water. Um, I welcome you today to our session, The Power of Young Women. And I want to thank everyone who was involved in organizing this session. And I will introduce you to our session organizer, Brianna Huber, who is the founder of R2O and will be leading the session with us today.
Thank you, Sophie, and thank you everyone for joining us. So as Sophie said, my name is Brianna Huber. I am the director of a drinking water utility in the United States, and I'm also the founder and executive director of Her2O, which is an international nonprofit supporting women in water and sanitation. So thank you all for joining us today. Confidence is a very big topic, and we're excited to share just a brief look at Her2O's take on confidence, particularly girls' and women's confidence and how confidence impacts the water and sanitation sector. So I am going to share some slides with you. Okay, let me find my slides first. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can make that big. Okay, can you all see that? Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Today's session, The Power of Young Women, Building Confidence. So confidence has many meanings, but in its most literal form, confidence comes from the Latin word fidere, meaning to trust. Therefore, to be self-confident is to trust in yourself, and more specifically, to trust in your ability to engage with another person, with a task, and with the world. Another way to think about confidence is as the junction where thoughts are turned into action. Without the confidence to act, thoughts simply remain thoughts. So there is a confidence gap between boys and girls and men and women. From a young age, girls indicate being less confident in their math and science skills than do boys. Transitioning into adulthood, a Cornell University study found that while men's and women's performance was the same in both quality and quantity, men overestimate both their abilities and performance, and women underestimate both. This lack of confidence in women is often referred to as imposter syndrome, which is the inability to believe that your success has been earned or has been legitimately achieved due to your own efforts. And one recent study found that 75% of executive women have experienced imposter syndrome. Understanding imposter syndrome and how frequently women report it is important because success correlates just as closely with confidence as it does with competence. So a woman could be as competent as the best, but if she does not have confidence, she's likely to never reach the ranks of the best or even identify as being one of the best. Confidence impacts several areas of a female's pursuit of water and sanitation related careers and success. For example, a girl's confidence in her math and science abilities impact what college degrees she will pursue. We also know that confidence impacts which jobs and promotions a woman pursues. In fact, a Hewlett-Packard study some years back demonstrated that men apply for jobs or promotions when they're confident that they meet 60% of job requirements, while women only apply if they meet 100% of the job requirements. It's also well documented that men initiate salary negotiations more often than women. And when they do, they ask for 30% more money than women do. Another study found that when men and women are faced with the same difficult task or situation, women tend to attribute non-exemplary performance in that task internally to their lack of being good enough, while men attribute it externally, recognizing that it's simply a tough task. When women internally attribute such shortcomings, it impacts their confidence to try again. Finally, when a woman experiences a lack of confidence, it often results in complete inaction as she is frozen within her thoughts. So how do we build girls' and women's confidence? That is a bit of a loaded and tricky question. Several things impact both level of confidence and ability to build it, and there are several ways to build confidence. Excuse me. Today, we'd like to share a few thoughts on this topic and introduce you to a couple concepts that will put you as young professionals well on your way to increasing your confidence. We'll start with two panelists sharing a story about how they built confidence, and then attendees will have 10 minutes to ask the panel any questions you have about confidence. So if you're already thinking you have a question about confidence, please go ahead and jot it down so you don't forget it. We will then move into breakout sessions for 25 minutes where we'll engage in 2 confidence building exercises, and finally we'll come back together for reflection and closing comments. So in no particular order, I'd like to introduce our panelists for today, and we have several. Ratadzaishi Tracy Mupinga. Tracy, and you can wave when I introduce you, please. Tracy is a Zimbabwean chemical engineer working as the Africa Regional Ambassador for Water Science Policy. She is also studying for a master's in engineering based in South Africa and focusing on fecal sludge management and sanitation. Dwanita Wulandini. Dwanita previously worked in banking. She became interested in the water sector while doing her graduate studies in Indonesia. She is currently the program manager for urban water utilities at water.org Indonesia, where she expands partner organizations' capacity and develops affordable financing schemes to improve access to safe water. Sarah Sanchez Lopez. Sarah is a forestry engineer holding a master's degree in environmental water management. Most of her experience focuses on WASH development projects. She is a member of the Women in Water and Sanitation Network and head of international relations of Young Water Professionals of Spain. Sarah Gamel Eldon. Sarah has 12 years experience as a professional engineer in the field of water and wastewater consulting. She is currently employed by Greeley and Hansen, and she is a very active volunteer with the Illinois Section American Water Works Association, where she has just taken over as chair of the Women in Water Committee. Seshana Avianando. Seshana is an Indonesian environmental enthusiast currently working in the development area of water, sanitation, and microfinance. Having graduated as an environmental engineer, she was exposed to a lot of world challenges. Intrigued with the Mother Nature, Seshana loves to do outdoor activities in her free time. Sovatu Nau has 2 children, and her background is in agriculture. She has worked in youth empowerment, strategic thinking, and organizational development for 20 years. She is also a yoga practitioner. Her passion is creating platforms where youth learn from the experiences of adults and don't make the same mistakes. Marian Chukiyure. Marian is a Peruvian business administrator specializing in human resources. She is the administrative assistant and grant management specialist for Latin America at water.org. She is a dog and cat lover and enjoys traveling, cooking, and spending time with her family. She considers herself a persistent, honest, and straightforward person. Ludmila Odud. Ludmila holds a PhD in water supply and sewerage. She works as the leading engineer in geoinformatic systems at Rivne Regional Water Supply Company in Ukraine. She is involved in the International Water Association, International Water Resources Association, and World Youth Parliament for Water. And last but not least, Nuzat Bashir. Nuzat is a passionate and dedicated young WASH professional. She is an advocate of menstruation hygiene management, ensuring gender equality, improving health, education, economy, respect, privacy, dignity, and prosperity of women universally. She is the General Secretary of Pakistan Youth Parliament for Water. So at this time, I'm going to ask Tracy to please share her confidence story.
Hi everyone, my name is Ratadzaishi Tracy Mpinga, and I just want to share with you my story of how I got to be confident. I've always had a passion to make a difference in my community. Growing up in an area where waste treatment and wastewater treatment is not deemed as important, and it's not an uncommon sin to see human feces or diapers lying around. it's a field that people look down upon. And I grew up wanting to change the situation, dreaming of a clean and safe environment. I took up engineering after I did some research and understood that being an engineer, I could make a difference and in tackling these situations. So during my undergraduate studies, I started being involved in sanitation and waste treatment projects and looking at recycling of plastics from recovered disposable diapers and recovery of chromium from wastewater, ternary wastewater. I felt like I was on track, everything was going well. But then I was involved in a relationship with a man that broke me. He would beat me up and was extremely controlling. I reported him to the police, and the next thing, my name was all over the newspapers, the local newspapers, and I was portrayed as being wrong, and I was deserving of being beaten and abused. People started shouting at me for reporting my ex-boyfriend. He was also a student at the time, a university student just like me, and they were saying I was ruining his career. My self-esteem, how I felt about myself, was really shattered. People mocked everything that I was involved in. This included the work, the sanitation projects that I was working on. They would refer to my life as being as shitty as the work that I was doing. I just wanted to feel part of the group. I started to be a crowd pleaser, following what seemed popular and not what I desired for myself. The general notion was, you get an engineering degree, you work in a plant, you get your money, and you live pretty. That was the dream. And I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of that. I just wanted to live like everyone else. So I finished, I graduated, got a job as in an ethanol processing company. And 3 years later, I still didn't feel happy. I was depressed. I didn't even have a sense of purpose. I'd get home and not feel like I have done anything with my life. So I was not confident with anything up until I got to a point I was so depressed. I talked to a friend of mine about how I felt. They asked me exactly what I wanted. And I told them I wanted to change the world and be something. They simply told me, trace back yourself, trace back your steps and figure out who you are, what you want. And then after a couple of days, I talked to her. I told her about my passion for waste management. She looked at me and told me to follow my dreams. I pursued and looked for programs in sanitation and waste management. But then it still didn't really quite change everything. I couldn't get myself to tell my family, other people, that I wanted to go into sanitation, feces, urine. The faces that I would get were just not what I wanted. But I managed to get myself to apply for a master's in sanitation. Begrudgingly, I wasn't so confident, but I did. I just pushed myself, and it took me so much time to tell people what I was. And after I got a scholarship at Washington R&D Center in South Africa, where I am at the moment, I told people, and they mocked me. I was back down again, shy. People were telling me that how could I leave a cool job and move into doing sanitation? They were looking at me as, they deemed me confused at 29. My life was looking like a mess, single, nothing, looking to deal with feces. It didn't make sense to anyone. But then I managed to talk to my friend. She kept pushing me, do what you want, do what you really feel like doing. Don't listen to anyone. I moved to South Africa, and there I was. I got there. The environment was different. People were supporting me. I was in an organization where people were supporting my dream, where people were understanding why sanitation was important, why I was doing what I was doing. And with time, I got to be confident in what I was doing. Now I'm proud to say I'm an engineer working in sanitation. From all of this, I learned that it's okay to dream of what is uncommon. with other people and to understand my individual purpose in life. And I realized that when you want to be confident, you should find people that you can talk to, mentors that build you up, that lead you up into becoming something that you want. And I managed to learn to focus on every good thing that I had and admire the strength that I had as an individual. I started to prioritize myself. I was now obese and overweight from being depressed and everything. I started exercising and prioritizing my health. And I landed myself in a position aligned with water and sanitation, my dream, and I'm proud of where I am right now. And I think the most important thing that I learned was I got inner peace with all my decisions. And with that, I hope to even get a PhD in sanitation and eventually change the situation back home and bring with me the change that I've always wanted. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that inspiring story, Tracy. And I'm going to ask another panelist, Dwanita, to please share her confidence story now.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It is almost midnight here in Indonesia. So I would like to share my confidence story. So I started my career as a credit analyst in one of the largest state-owned bank in Indonesia. I work closely with clients to explore new business opportunities and evaluate the financial performance client business. So at one point, I was starting to feel that it wasn't enough for me. And I realized that the financial sector should not only help people make profits and improve economic conditions, but also improve people's lives. So I started thinking about the type of job I want to be doing and desire to use my efforts and time in career where I could make a bigger impact on the lives of the others. So after 2 years of planning and soul searching, I made the leap. In 2016, I dare myself to resign and apply in the field that 180 degrees different from my previous job, which is a non-governmental organization. So lucky for me, I get accepted in water.org as a program manager in the Water Connect program. So this program is about working with urban water utility to help secure clean water supply and sanitation services, especially for low-income household through financing services. So after I joined, I learned that the Water Connect program was a new initiative at that time. So Indonesia was the first country to test the program. And then I realized that the previous program manager that has more experience in the water sectors left without even reach the pilot project stage. So this is the beginning when I did not feel confident. Not only I was new in water and sanitation sector, I also must run the new program initiative. So I start questioning myself, how can I make this program successful? So at the first week, I was struggling. At that time, I feel everyone, colleague, partners, and even stakeholders look at me with one eye. I was young with no experience about water and sanitation in this male-dominated industry with all technical terms that I never heard of. So I almost give up and think that maybe I took the wrong decision. So I start to talk with my supervisor because I think that I'm not capable for handling the program. At that time, he said something that really changed my mind. That he said that Dini, the expert are once a beginner. He said then, so cheer up, he said. So I got motivated and start believing that I can do it. So I went back on my desk and took a deep breath. So instead of focusing on my weakness, I started to think how I utilize my previous experience and skill. And then I start to map out what is my strength and analyze what is necessary and need to be done. So I tried to build the program from the ground up and then started from partner selection criteria, due diligence assessment framework, and program intervention development. So after a few years, I successfully developed new program initiative until become full-scale program by creating new partner assessment tool, build new partnership, develop new capacity building program, and implement the program until it can make a meaningful impact in society. So within 4 years, I was able to help to expand water supply services, add more than 100,000 new household connections, and affect more than 500,000 people reach in the lives. Currently, Water Connect program in Indonesia become a benchmark for the water donor representative countries and other organizations such as Indonesia Urban Water Association. So what I learned from my experience are, the first one, it's okay not to be okay. Some of us maybe left our comfort zone or took the leap of faith by trying different role in completely different industry. So we will struggle at first, but the most important thing is how we get up and face the challenges. The second one, sometimes we need someone to talk to. We don't know where the motivation or the inspiration will come from. For me, it was from my supervisor. It can be from friends or family for you. The third one, just took a deep breath. That's simply yet powerful. And then the last one is, instead of focusing on weakness, focus on your strength and how can you make use of it. That's all. Thank you. That's my confidence story.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dwayne. Both of you had such inspiring stories of how you were able to go from feeling non-confident to building your confidence and then feeling confident in achieving your goals. So thank you for sharing. At this time, we've got about 8 minutes where those of you in attendance today can ask questions of the panelists. And I ask that you put those questions in the chat box. If you're not familiar with how to access the chat, if you take your mouse to the bottom of your screen, there's a little box there that says chat, and you can click on that and it will open a separate box where you can then type in your questions. As you guys are thinking of those questions and putting them in the chat box, I do have a few questions that some people submitted ahead of time that I'm going to go ahead and throw out there. So I'm first going to ask the panelists, what does confidence mean to you? And if you have something that comes to mind right away, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to just call on someone. So I'm going to start with Sarah Gamal Eldon. If you could share, what does confidence mean to you?
Hi, my name is Sarah. I think confidence means to me that you believe in yourself. The most thing is that you know that you can do it and that you have it. It's within you. It's within all of us. That's what I believe in confidence.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to call on one more person. Let's see, how about, say, Shana, do you want to add to that? What does confidence mean to you?
Hi, thank you, Brianna. I was about to say the same thing. Confidence means that you are the one who believe that you can do whatever you do, and you have to focus on your strength and utilize what you have in you, and do not focus on your weakness.
Okay, thank you. I do see that Asif Ali has his hand raised. Did you want to ask a question, Asif?
No, I don't have a question, but I want to tell you something about my confidence.
Okay.
Okay, there is a lighting issue. The confidence is that, according to me, according to my thinking, you have to do anything, whatever you want, whatever you set in your life, and you are the only who can achieve your goals and targets. That's it.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that, Asif. That's right. You are the only person that can achieve your goals and targets. So I'm going to throw another question out to the panelists. What has been your biggest challenge related to being confident? I'm gonna put Ludmila on the spot and ask her what has been her biggest challenge related to being confident.
I will reply it more philosophically. And, for me, I think the biggest challenge is it's if when you are not sure that you need that target, or do you need that, I don't know, desire. So I think the first thing is need to find out within yourself, do you need that? It's the first challenge, what is on the way of, facing those other things to build that confidence.
All right, thank you for sharing. And I'm going to ask Marion, would you like to also share what's been your biggest challenge related to being confident?
Yes, I think that to understand that I'm capable of doing things, just to try it. If we don't try to, for example, to do something that we believe that we are not capable of doing, we will never know if we can do it. So we must take the first step and try to achieve that goal. For example, for me, a challenge that I have now, it may be silly, but I never in my life I learned to ride a bike. so I know that this is a challenge and I have to go through it and buy a bike, or maybe borrow the bike of my boyfriend and start to ride it. Even if I fell down, I will have to do it. Otherwise, I will never learn and I will never experience what it feels. And I will never believe what others tells me, that it's awesome, that it's very fun. So the first step is to do it.
All right, thank you so much. Great point there. Elisa, did you have a question or a comment?
I had a quick question. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on how can we better support each other as women to build confidence?
Okay, I'm going to start with Sarah Sanchez Lopez.
I love that question. You know already, Brianna. I believe actually that helping between us, like being a support to each other, empower not only the person that you are helping, but also yourself, because you build your confidence and you feel that you're useful. And at some point, we are all in a position of giving good advice, or just giving that support and giving that strength that sometimes is so difficult to find within yourself, but it's so clear to give another one. So I think more than anything is trust each other, reach a hand when we feel that we can help. We are not here to compete between us. We are stronger together and we can go further.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Sarah. There's a saying, which I'm going to not get fully right because I can't recall the whole thing, but it's something along the lines of girls compete with each other and women support one another. I'm going to ask Sovata if she would also like to respond to that question.
Thank you, Brianna, and thank you, Elisa, for the question. Actually, I already wrote in the box that
you did.
Supporting one another. The key thing is being there for her, listening to her problem, and without any judgment. That is the best thing. And sometimes giving a comment, giving an advice doesn't help, but giving a very right coaching question would probably help, and being there with her without any judgment would help a lot, because she probably know her solution. She just needs somebody to give her a right question so she can use her own brain to think and make her own decision, rather than somebody else from different contexts tell her to do this or to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to throw one last quick question. So quick responses, please, before we move into breakout sessions. And I'm going to ask Tracy and Donita to respond to this. How do you remain focused on building confidence? So how do you keep it consistent in your life and something that you're constantly working on? Tracy, I'll have you go first.
I think for me personally, confidence is not something that you wake up with every day and it's constant. It's going to be constantly there. There are always times when you're going to second guess yourself, where you're going to feel like you're not good enough. But then you have to come back and remember the reason why you're doing what you're doing, and to know that no one I've heard a saying that every time you get into a room, just know the reason that got you through the door is because you're good enough. So whatever it is that you're gonna be supposed to be doing, if it's a meeting or it's a job that you're supposed to be doing, whoever gave you that job knew you're good enough and they've already believed in you, and it's now only up to you to just do your job. And so I believe it's something that you constantly have to remind yourself every single day that I'm good enough. I can do this. I know who I am and I am the best at what I do. And just reminding yourself that, I think your confidence will always be okay.
All right, thank you. And then Dwanita, and then I'm going to ask Nuzat to share as well. But Dwanita, please go first.
Yeah, I think I'm very agree with what Rati said before, because confidence is not something that consistently we'll do it consistently every day. So I think how to be focused and maintain the consistently is by remain what you did and what you are accomplished. So when you feel not confident, then you need to come back and think what is your accomplished, what is your accomplishment until now, something like that. So you will get your confidence back. And the thing that you need someone to talk to that support you, that cheer you up, that say that I think you're good enough, you did well, something like that. So you will maintain your confidence consistently every day. Thank you.
Yeah, having a good support system. Thank you for sharing, Dwanita. And then Nuzat, can you wrap us up with how do you remain focused on building confidence? You're muted, Nuzat. There you go.
Oh, sorry, I was muting. Hi, everyone. According to me, the confidence is the power of self-believing, personal strength based on the experience and knowledge.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, let's go ahead and move into breakout sessions where we're going to practice a couple exercises that we can take with us as we go beyond this session to build our own self-confidence. So Elisa and Sophie, will you please move us into breakout sessions? All the panelists. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. So thank you all for participating today. We've covered a lot of material in a very short time. And in fact, you guys were so great at talking in breakout sessions that most of you did not even fully get through the second exercise or even get to the second exercise at all. So that's really good. I'm glad that you guys are having great conversation on the first exercise. I will put something together in a presentable format for you all, and I'll upload it to the website where you guys can access those resources so you can read about them a little bit more and go through them on your own and practice those so that you can walk away and use those exercises to help build your own self-confidence. So I do want to take a minute and I just want to ask for one volunteer to share something that you learned about building confidence today. So do I have one volunteer? Maybe you can raise your hand like this or raise hand on the screen. Okay, Balawatito, will you unmute yourself and share what you learned about building confidence?
Yeah, thank you. So I've learned that I can have some self-limiting factors, which I'm now aware of. I just heard about that today for the first time. So I have to, yeah, it applies to the examples we used today applies to work or my professional life, but I would have to think a lot more about it to apply to every other areas of my life as well. And when I'm able to identify these self-limiting factors, then I need to change the narrative and change it into a positive narrative and, you know, make myself believe that. And yeah, that would make me have more confidence in what I do or whatever goal I want to set out to accomplish.
Yes, thank you for sharing. That was a really good summary and recap of the reframing exercise. So thank you. I also want to thank each of the panelists for sharing their wisdom today. And then I just have a few closing comments. So building girls' and women's confidence is critical to the sustainability of water and sanitation. Currently, girls are twice as likely to think of mathematicians and scientists as men. Without confidence in their abilities in math and science, their likelihood to pursue education in STEM fields drops significantly. Perceived inequality in a field also impacts girls' confidence. A Microsoft study found that perceived inequality in the field leads girls to avoid STEM studies and careers. In fact, 6 out of 10 girls admitted that they would feel more confident pursuing a STEM career if they knew men and women were already equally employed in these fields. In this sense, inequality leads to more inequality, which makes confidence in girls and women that much more important. Without women's confidence in their technical and intellectual abilities, confidence to both work and have a family, and confidence to ride the storm when the going gets tough, their likelihood to pursue STEM careers also drops significantly. Without confident girls and women, we will never see a gender equal sector. Research has shown over and over that diverse teams outperform non-diverse teams in every aspect. Women bring different perspectives, ideas, and approaches to the table. When it comes to addressing water and sanitation challenges, it simply does not make sense to include only half of the population. We need all minds on board to develop the best and most sustainable solutions. And in order to have all minds on board, we need confident women. We've walked through 2 confidence exercises today. Intentionally and regularly practicing reframing and positive visualization are just 2 tools that you can use to build your confidence. And I can tell you that they work. I used reframing and positive visualization to practice my interview, negotiating, and accepting my most recent promotion to director of my utility. Working through the possible scenarios, reframing, and visualizing what those conversations will look and feel like were incredibly helpful to me. As we like to say at Her2O, we are water, with an H, water, so let's be it confidently. Thank you all for attending today.